Whether you guys are looking for funds to sign your next Wonderkid or looking for some money to improve your club's youth facilities, money really does make the world go round in Football Manager. So today I'm going to be giving you guys some really quick, simple tips to help maximise your transfer budget, your overall balance with your club and improve your financial situation in FM22. Hi everybody, Jake here for FMSCOUT, and as mentioned at the start of the video, today we're going to be looking at some ways to make you rich in FM22 if you want to call it that. But the idea being, in this video we're going to show you ways not only to quickly make a few million quid, but also how to save a few million quid in the long run. Hopefully that will add to the overall success of your club and mean you can sign another few players for your squad and maybe push up the league a little bit further. So without further ado, we're going to get into it, but as this video is going to be, it's not an extensive list of every single way to make money, I want to ask you guys to comment down below what ways you guys make money in your saves that I might not mention, and like the video if you enjoy it. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. We've just hit 125,000 subscribers on the channel, which is awesome. If we can push to 130,000 by Christmas, that would be great. And finally, if you want to check out my channel and my Newcastle save, as we get a few hundred subscribers away from 5,000, then that would be awesome. And yeah, let's get right into tip number one. So here we go with the first tip, and I should preface this by saying some of these tips are going to be better for the lower league clubs, some of them better for the more elite clubs. Most of these tips are going to be aimed for beginners and new Football Manager players, but hopefully if you're the expert players in here, you can stick around and you might find one or two things that you're not really doing, or at least not being fully conscious of, that can help you save some money. So yeah, the first thing you're going to want to do, very simple, at the start of any save, no matter what club you are, click on the transfers tab, and as you can see, we've got £40 million to spend here as Chelsea with £200,000 in the wage budget. Now, I think this is so important, so easy to do at the start of any save, because I think season one is the time when money means the most. Providing you guys do at least okay in your saves, by the second season you'll have a couple of good players to be able to sell on, and you don't have to worry about that first season challenge of getting out the deadwood that just really won't leave the club. And an easy way to make some money without doing any of that is just to look at these clauses. So many people don't do it. All you have to do is hit the clauses button and you can see ways to both save some money in the long run and also make some money very quickly. So for example here, we've got two examples as Chelsea, the best one being Eden Hazard. I actually spoke about this in my FM21 video of a similar nature. It's so easy just to come here, look at this and go, right, I can either wait 56 Eden Hazard league goals to make £4 million, or sell it right now for just £3.2 million. That'll get added straight to my budget, and I don't have to worry about the fact of whether Eden Hazard is going to score 56 goals, which, as much as I love him, I doubt he's going to do 56 league goals for Real Madrid in the few years that he's going to have there. So I sell that, and straight away I'm going to have £3.2 million go into my transfer budget, and that's an extra Wonderkid for your team. And very similarly, if you're going for a long-term save, you might see something like this and think, you know what, I know that I'm going to play Kai Havertz 53 times in the league over his course of his Chelsea career. As opposed to playing £1 million when it happens, I can take a cut price, save a few £100,000 and buy it here. Now, a couple £100,000 isn't a big deal for a club like Chelsea, but if you're a League One Championship level club, chances are, if you look here, you'll have had a player that's maybe playing at a Premier League club with a percentage of profit. There's quite a few of them examples. And you can quickly sell that, make a couple million quid, and that can make the world of difference in your seasons. I think it's really good to save any money any way you can, whether you have £100,000 in your transfer budget or £200,000. And these clauses are so good at that at the start of a save. Okay, so the next tip we're going to look at is something that I actually used in my Newcastle save to make a little bit extra money on top of the £200 million that they've already got. If you want to check out that save, feel free to find it linked in the description on my channel. But this is one that people talk about till the day they die in these kind of videos. I know in Tucker's lower league management video, he talked about this because it's really good for non-league teams and teams of lower leagues, but I can tell you it's still pretty good for a Premier League side too, and that is arranging your friendlies yourself. It might be a bit annoying, you might sometimes forget to do it, but all you need to do is hit the calendar button here, and it looks like we've already got some friendlies arranged. But what that doesn't do is stop us from using, for example, this week here, we don't have a friendly. Well, what can we do? We can click here, arrange friendly, and we can choose somebody to play. Sounds simple, right? Well, it really is. If you're a club in a lower league, being able to pick and choose, say, play against a team like Tottenham in a friendly is massive, because it's going to bring a big chunk of money to your club. It's going to cost us 150k to have a friendly with Tottenham, and we'll make 330k. So we're basically doubling our money with very little effort, and we get some good match fitness against a decent side. Like I've mentioned already, 150,000 is not much to Chelsea, but if you're a lower league club or a team in the Championship, that kind of money can make a big difference. Now, one of my favourite places to find bargain Wonderkids and just bargain players in general is to come to the Spanish divisions, and the reason for that is, in the division, they have to have a release clause. Again, this is one I spoke about in last year's video. If anyone's seen it, you'll already know it, but to people who don't, just come here, because every player in Spain legally has to have a release clause. You will see players like Pedri will have a £1 billion release clause or whatever it was that they did in real life, which is a crazy number. But that doesn't mean that's the case for everyone, because if you go into like the under-19 team of Spain here, I bet you there's a few players whose release clause is nowhere near as high as it should be for the value of the player, and therefore you can get a really good player for cheap. So every season, what I like to do as new Wonderkids are developed in the game is head to Spain's under-19 team and under-21 team, just have a look through them, see if any of them have got a cheap release clause, and see if there's anyone cool to pick up. Now, I would also suggest, just as a general rule, if you're a few seasons in and you're looking for Wonderkids, the best place to look is to go to the national teams and look in their under-19s, under-21s. If they're good enough to crack their teams, there's a good chance it might be good enough for your guys' squad. So you check your under-19s of Spain, France, Italy, Uruguay, Argentina. Argentina usually has some great ones, but Spain is the one I've had the most luck with just because of these release clauses, particularly if they're not at Real Madrid, Valencia or Barcelona, they might be at a Real Oviedo, for example. But for example, a good player from this year who has a great release clause is Cardero. Looking at the player here, he's a great Wonderkid. He's one I've spoke about a few times. He's got plenty of potential, and you can pick him up for £240,000, which is pocket change compared to the kind of player that he should be valued at and what he could potentially turn into in your guys' saves. So always check Spain under 21s and under 18s each year in your save to find any release clauses, and you can also just check general players in that league, and always check the under 21s and under 18s teams of maybe the top 20 world ranking clubs each year, scout them and see if there's anyone good that you could potentially sign. So the next thing we can look at is when you're signing a player, how you can reduce the fee to be most financially stable for your guys' clubs. Now, there's plenty of ways to make a transfer better financially than just outright spending. Let's say they wanted 50 million for Barella. There's better ways to make that transfer than just spending 50 million pounds straight up on Barella. A lot of you guys know that, but there's plenty of people who will skip past all the negotiating part, just put their fee down, and that'll be that. But you can save so much money during negotiations if you actually take a bit of time, and that can mean you can sign an extra couple of players in the transfer window. Let's say we wanted to sign Paulo Dybala for our Chelsea side, so we'd obviously go on to him and go to sign him. Now, let's say they did want £39.5 million for him. We're not going to do the full negotiation here, but plenty of people will just go straight up £39 million, or maybe they'll say £30 million with a percentage of profit, whatever it may be. There's so many better ways of doing this. If you want to make up a £40 million transfer fee pretty much, I genuinely think one of the best things to do is to pay something like £10 million like this. And then if we go to instalments, set it to instalments over 12 monthly, 3 instalments, and add that up to £30 million. What that's going to mean is over the course of 3 seasons, we're going to pay that extra £30 million on top of the 10 to make the 40, but we're going to do it in 10 million chunks each year. There's going to be plenty of you shouting at the screen right now saying that's unrealistic. This is how most transfers in real life are negotiated. Clubs in Football Manager are often more willing to take this fee than say a 40 million straight up, because what it means is they're going to be guaranteeing themselves some income over the course of a few seasons, so it's beneficial to both parties. Not only that, you save some money on your transfer budget, only £10 million is going to come out of it. And if you're a capable manager who believes in himself, chances are you'll be pretty aware that within a few years you might have more money in the overall balance to pay this off. So if you, for example, can't afford that £40 million right now, but you can afford say 20, maybe it's worth doing an instalment fee if you're confident that next year you can perform well enough that you can earn enough money. Let's say you get a Champions League spot that your club didn't have before, now you have more money to spend and you can easily cover the cost of it at a time when you probably shouldn't have even been allowed to buy him without the instalment fee. So I think it's a great thing to do. Not many people are using it still, despite the fact that it's so great to do. Don't treat it as unrealistic. It's part of the game, it's part of the footballing world, and it's definitely something worth doing in your guys' saves. Okay, now moving on to the final thing we'll talk about in today's video. Like I say, none of these are going to completely blow you away. Oh my god, I never thought of that. And if they did, then awesome, but I don't think they will. I think these are just ways that you really need to consider if you're looking to make money over the long term. Of course, it hasn't been said yet, but a great way to make money is to buy Wonderkids or buy young players, develop them, and sell them on for the profit. That's always the way forward, I think, in Football Manager, but that really goes without saying. So if you don't do that already, do that. But like how I just showed you how you can save money when negotiating a transfer, now I'm going to show you how you can do the same when negotiating a contract. So let's hop straight into contract negotiations. We're going to finalise whatever promise Vecino wants, and let's see what our director would have asked for in terms of the contract. So if we suggest this, he's going to come back with what he wants. Here we go. So Vecino apparently here would like £66,000, a £2.2 million signing on fee, all this and all of this stuff here in terms of bonuses and clauses. Now, so often people will just go, knock this down to 60 and accept, negotiate. What a great negotiation. Yes, you save money, but I would much rather, if it was me, for example, if I knew Vecino was going to play every game, these bonuses and clauses are very important to look at. Assist bonus, I'll happily give him if he gets an assist, but a fee for an appearance for a player who, let's say we did want to play him every game, we're going to be paying him not just his 66,000, but this extra £16,500 a week in appearance fee. Now yes, you guys might knock this down to 60 and take that as a win, but I would much rather pay the £66,000 a week and no appearance fee if possible. So we're going to remove that, try and remove this unused substitute fee as well. And there you go, with a bit of negotiation, we've got him back down to that 66,000 that he wanted, but we've got rid of them appearance bonuses. So often people will just put this down to 60, like I say, accept the appearance bonus and move on, but you're actually going to be paying more over the course of the season if you're planning on using this guy. Similarly, there's ways you can exploit this. For example, if you've got a defender, put in a bonus on goals scored. He might not score goals, but he might class that as part of his wages, which is awesome. If you've got a 34-year-old player coming into your club who you don't think you're going to use often but is there as a backup, then an appearance fee over the wage would actually make more sense. You pay him less wage, pay him more of an appearance fee. If he ever appears, great, here's your paycheck. If not, you're giving him that discounted salary price. So in summary, what you really want to do is look at a player, think about how much you're going to use him, and really take consideration of those bonuses and think how it might work for your club. Now, you might be sitting there again saying, well, you've only saved 10 grand or whatever it is on your weekly contract. Again, true, but if you do this with every player, let's say you sign 5 players and you've managed to save yourself 40, 50 grand a week, that's a whole new contract for a player in the future. It's a big chunk of money to save in your wage budget. And finally, a super quick tip that I'll finish off with. Quite often you'll find that people just offer a contract, say Rudiger wants a contract, you offer it him, negotiate it down, and that's the end of it. But one thing I always do, if possible, you can see if it works. Most of the time it does. Haven't tried it in FM22, but I'm sure it does. Instead of saying start the contract now, we'll start at the end of the season. He's willing to accept that, there you go, which will mean that this contract, let's say that Rudiger's been saying for ages, I don't want 100 grand a week, I want 120, and he's kicking up a fuss. Instead of having to pay that 20 grand on top of his contract once he renegotiates it for the whole season, you say we'll do it at the end. That saves you a season of that extra 20,000 on his deal, and you save some money that way. So it's always a good idea, if possible, to change this from immediate to end of season contract. That way you're not paying the money until next season, and it just means you save a little bit more money. And most of the time they will accept it without any complaint. So that being said, there's just a few tips that can quickly save you money. Like I say, that's not every single one. So if you guys have got some, put them in the comments and we'll make just a nice video here where people can come along and learn a little bit to save some money. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time, guys. Goodbye.